News that impacts you and your community. 13 on Your Side News starts now.
Hello everyone and welcome to this One Good Thing Heroes special. I'm Matt Gard, and over the next 30 minutes we're going to be sharing some of our favorite stories from the last year or so involving military members, our veterans, fallen heroes, and their families. For my One Good Thing franchise, I seek out people with deeply personal stories that come with a call to action. So if you have a soft spot for our nation's heroes, this special is going to give you some ideas about how you can help them. We start with this guy. Back in 2022, I met Reggie Howard at a Grand Rapids City Commissioners meeting, and he had an idea for this place called Heroes Corner. He dreamed of a drop-in center where veterans could go to enjoy fellowship in a sober, safe environment and a place where they could get access to resources they may need. A few months later, I filmed the first ever meeting of Heroes Corner at Marge's Donut Den in Wyoming. And a few years after that, they moved into their current home at the corner of 48th and Eastern in Kentwood. They even have a wing for women veterans called Sheroes Corner. That new building was great, but it came with issues. Luckily, the community stepped up to make sure our veterans have a good roof over their heads.
Heroes Corner is a clean and sober mental health veteran drop-in resource center.
Reggie Howard and the staff at Heroes and Sheroes Corner have so much love for those who have served.
One of the things we pride ourselves on is making our veterans and their family members feel at home.
But it's hard to feel at home when a major setback closes your favorite hangout.
When we purchased the building, we had to purchase it as is. And what happened was we started finding leaks. Then we finally had a flat roofing company come out and tell us like, hey, your roof is over 20 years old and it needs replacing instead of repairing.
That was a hefty bill, right?
A hefty bill. It came in at, the lowest bid that we have received was $86,000.
In the meantime, damage piled up.
I spent plenty of nights not sleeping, thinking like, hey, we're gonna have to close down because the roof just got worse.
They fundraised for months.
13 on Your Side came out, and then you posted it on the news, hey, they need help. It was so amazing how people would just stop what they're doing and say, hey, we see your article, we wanna know, how can we help you?
That help came from community members both big,
Home Depot, oh my God, I can't thank them enough.
and small.
Friends, veteran organizations, friends that live out of town, strangers, churches came together. Little kids would give their last. She'd be like, all I have is $10.
Trident Roof Solutions got to work.
It was an honor to do it for them, you know, it really is, to help out and give to the community, especially for something like this.
And they finished the job just in time.
Yesterday, we had big rainstorms, and I came in this morning to check the building out, and we had no leaks.
It's exciting, you know, just to know that they have a place and I can come here when I get off of work and volunteer.
This is a community that lets me know that Heroes and Sheroes Corner has made an impact in Grand Rapids and the surrounding community.
Thank you, and thank you.
Once that roof is paid off, the staff members at Heroes Corner hope to upgrade the floors next. If you'd like to help them do that, you can donate by visiting heroescornergrandrapids.org. They also encourage people to just stop by so you can see what they do for yourself. Every year, Mid-Michigan Honor Flight takes veterans on a trip to see the monuments and memorials that honor them and their fallen comrades. This year, 77 veterans left out of the Gerald R. Ford International Airport in Grand Rapids to do just that in Washington, D.C. I was at the airport the night they came back, and I ran into the Nagelkirk family from Granville. I got a chance to talk to them about the veteran they came to see that night, a man they say makes history come alive.
This is a special night for our grandpa and for our whole family.
The whole Nagelkirk family has been glued to a group chat.
The pictures that I saw the last couple of days were amazing. My brother flooded us with all kinds of pictures.
Now the night they've been waiting for is here.
To see this crowd arriving here tonight like this is awesome. I've heard about this, I've seen it on the news, and now to actually be a part of it, it's really a thrill. And I have, 5 kids and 13 grandkids, and most of them are going to be here tonight to see their grandpa and great-grandpa get off that plane.
The anticipation grows.
There's the first guy right there.
For their veteran to finally make his grand entrance.
There's Grandpa. There's Grandpa. See him next to him? He's walking with a gray sweater on.
That guy in the gray sweater.
He finally saw us.
Is Marv Nagelkirk.
He is 97 years old. He's a World War II vet from the Navy.
He has quite a few stories to tell.
His memory is impeccable. It's amazing the dates he can remember and the street names growing up and different jobs he's had.
He remembers the Sunday afternoon when Pearl Harbor was attacked.
Marv enlisted as early as he could at age 17.
He talked about really being towards the end of the war, so he was not in the middle of all the battles that took place, but he certainly has a heart and compassion for those who served with him and those who died for our country too.
Now the next generation of Nagelkirks shares that compassion for heroes.
We live in America. We have freedom, and I'm so thankful for the men and women who have served for our country and those who gave their lives for our country. So I'm very proud of my dad, and glad that he was able to make this trip.
Aside from Marv, there was one other World War II veteran on that flight, along with 7 Korean War veterans and dozens of Vietnam veterans. Mid-Michigan Honor Flight makes multiple trips to Washington, D.C. each year, not only out of Grand Rapids, but other airports in Michigan as well. They take volunteers, cash donations, and they also have an Amazon wish list. If you'd like to help them make those honor flights continue to happen, you can check them out at midmichiganhonorflight.org. Still to come, people in the Muskegon area are showing their appreciation for our nation's heroes by using their incredible talents. We'll show you what they're making and why veterans say these gifts are so meaningful.
One Good Thing, sponsored by LaFontaine Ford, Grand Rapids.
Welcome back to the One Good Thing Heroes Special. People in Muskegon are giving their time, their talents, and a whole lot of tender loving care to make sure our nation's heroes receive a proper thank you one step at a time. I talked to one veteran who says they've accomplished that mission.
My wife and I were married a year when I got drafted.
Ken Gittes left behind everything he held dear to fight overseas in 1967.
When I got there, I didn't know why I was sent to Korea, because so many men and women were heading to Vietnam in that time. My first combat mission that I was on Easter Sunday. That's when I found out that we're not playing games over there. We went over and did what we were asked to do. The job is never easy. It's not fun.
Coming home was hard too.
Back in that time, the troops weren't getting very good welcome. When I tell people I went to Korea, they said, well, you didn't see any battle then. You didn't go to Vietnam. We lost a lot of guys over there when I was there. It was painful. It still is sometimes when I think about it.
A small army of women called the Shining Stars Quilting Bee is working to make gifts for service members and veterans so they know they are appreciated.
Quilts of Valor is a quilt that is made by a group of volunteers from the Quilts of Valor Foundation from all over the nation. We gather together to make these quilts.
No two quilts are alike. Each one celebrates the service of the hero it represents.
They have left home family, friends to serve, and whether it's in a time of crisis or a time of peace, we feel they need to be honored for what they have sacrificed for our country.
The Shining Stars have given over 100 quilts in just 2.5 years.
If they're medically unable to, go to a presentation, we go to them. We do a lot of nursing homes and, we make it happen.
It's just like, it's honor, it's just the pride, the privilege to even receive that, and everything we've done is just kind of all comes together.
And for veterans like Ken Gittes, receiving a Quilt of Valor is making up for decades of being forgotten.
When I look at that, it's like finally being welcomed home. I try not to carry the anger I felt when I first come home, how I was treated. I don't want to carry that anymore, because we do have people walking up to me and they say, "Thank you for your service." And sometimes I say, "We did it for you."
They did it for us. Touching words from Ken Gittes there. A few months after that story aired, I got some particularly touching news. Take a look at this. That's Ken and John Ebenstein, who's from Mecosta County. He saw the story and said, "Hey, I think I served with that guy." So he made a few calls and he was able to reunite with Ken all these years later. I did ask John and Ken if they wanted to do a story about their reunion, but John's a little camera shy and I wanted to respect his privacy. Now that said, I was able to get my hands on these photos of their time in service together. It's an absolute honor to see them back together. Now back to the Shining Stars for a second. They have presented quilts to veterans as far north as Montague and as far south as Grand Haven. They're looking for more heroes to honor, and they have a particular interest in getting more Korean War veterans and more women veterans involved. Any service member or veteran who was honorably discharged is eligible. Well, he left Newaygo County for the Korean War and he didn't return until 70+ years later. Up next, how the community and the South Korean people let Tom Smith's family know he'll never be forgotten.
One Good Thing, sponsored by LaFontaine Ford, Grand Rapids.
Welcome back to the One Good Thing Heroes Special. The Korean War is often called the Forgotten War. Sandwiched between World War II and the Vietnam War, American soldiers who served in Korea historically haven't received quite as much publicity. But more than 30,000 Americans died in the war, and of those, nearly 5,000 were declared dead after being listed as missing in action. One of those soldiers grew up right here in West Michigan, and this past year, his family received recognition showing that his sacrifice has not been forgotten.
From the small town of Grant, a 17-year-old known by his pals as a prankster bid farewell to his home to fight in a faraway land.
He gave up his life for the country in Korea.
Thomas Smith's nephew, Daniel.
I can remember the stories of being told that initially that he lost his life in a tank.
Never got to meet him.
Well, that's basically what the family knew so far as what had happened to Tom. Supposedly he lost his life on a bridge.
No one knew for sure what happened to Tom after he vanished on August 2nd, 1950, and he was presumed dead by 1953. 70 more years went by before scientists confirmed in 2023 that remains found on Korean soil belonged to Tom Smith.
I stood on the tarmac and Tom's remains were flown in. At that point, I felt a feeling of gratitude.
Tom is being remembered at a park in Mount Pleasant, along with 3 other Michigan service members as part of a POW MIA recognition ceremony.
Michigan's given a lot historically. Now it's time to do something for an area that is forgotten, and it's the families of the POWs and MIAs.
Doug Pickle made the plaques by hand that will be given to the families.
They're heirlooms for the next generation, so this memory will continue, and it'll live on hopefully forever.
And that's not all they will receive.
We invited members of the South Korean consulate to come up. And they are actually coming up to present the Korean War families with peacekeeper medals from the South Korean government.
This soldier of the forgotten war has not been forgotten. Not by the country he served, nor the country he helped, and certainly not by the people who loved him the most.
I think that's not only important for us as a family, but I also think that it's important for the rest of America to understand the sacrifices that were made so that we can live the lives that we do live today and have the freedoms that we do.
In that story, you heard from a plaque maker named Doug Pickle. He's actually part of a massive effort to make sure more POW MIAs are remembered forever. Earlier this year, he, along with the American Legion in Mount Pleasant, made a presentation to the city. They want to build a memorial honoring all of Michigan's POW MIAs near the Michigan Vietnam Veterans Memorial. They say Mount Pleasant is the perfect location because it's smack dab in the middle of the state, and they believe it would be the first of its kind in the country.
I've traveled the country and seen monuments all across our great land. There isn't one dedicated to any one state's POWs. None. You see headstones? That's it. What we want to do with this memorial is we want to make it a memorial that, number one, honors all of Michigan residents who may have been taken prisoner of war.
Now, this plan is still in the very early stages. They say it started as a funny quip, a name that rhymed and rolled off the tongue. But Windows for Widows turned out to be incredibly meaningful for a West Michigan company and a military family. Find out why after the break.
One Good Thing, sponsored by LaFontaine Ford, Grand Rapids.
Welcome back to the One Good Thing Heroes Special. A military family was able to make a home repair that was unusually meaningful. And as they look through their window, they can see they're not forgotten.
On a day with less than ideal conditions.
It's scorching hot today, so that's been extremely fun.
A crew from Michigan Screen and Window Repair had their work cut out for them.
When I first looked at the windows, we had single pane, old original wood windows throughout the home, covered in lead paint.
A 1923 Grand Rapids home with century-old windows was quite a project.
And we've been sweating, but it's totally worth it.
Worth it for an important cause.
This is our Windows for Widows campaign that we're super excited about. Basically where we just want to give back to someone in the community that's a military veteran widow.
In this case, that widow is Emmeline Twist, who met the love of her life in 2012.
James was in the military for almost 10 years between his time in active duty and the reserves. I think he felt that it was his life's purpose.
During his service, the Forest Hills Central grad was deployed to Afghanistan, where he helped save a fellow soldier who stepped on an IED.
They ran into uncleared territory and risked their own safety and lives to save him. And that's a story that I've talked to my kids about a lot, you know, without all the details that they don't need to hear, but Dad was so brave when he did that because he cared about his friend.
After his service ended, James was proud to be a Michigan State Trooper and a dad.
He loved his kids. He was very goofy with them.
Until he passed away unexpectedly in 2019.
My job, I feel like most of the time, since they were so little when he died, is to keep that alive and to kind of tell them about things that they're not going to remember because they were too little.
With new windows, it'll be a little easier for Emmeline to take care of her kids.
This is not only like just so incredibly kind and thoughtful, but it will make such a huge difference for us.
She says James would appreciate the gesture too.
He would be very grateful to know that people are taking care of us and to know that there's people rallying around us who care and that we haven't been forgotten.
Months after that story aired, we talked to Michigan Screen and Window owner Ryan Daly. He said when all the work was done that day, Emmeline asked him for a hug.
And in that moment, I was like, this means a lot more to her than I thought it did. And that's a pretty emotional moment where it's like you realize you've positively impacted someone's life and you have found a way to give back. So it's a big deal to us as a team, and it's super fun that we could all do it together too.
Michigan Screen and Window is planning to do Windows for Widows once per year. They're always taking nominations. If you know a military widow who would be deserving, visit michiganscreen.com/hero. That does it for this One Good Thing Hero Special. If you have any story ideas, any deeply personal stories with a call to action, you can email them to onegoodthing@13onyourside.com. I'm Matt Gard, and for all of us at 13 on Your Side, thank you to those who have served our country.